All right, we're live. All right, you came here and your time is valuable, and so we're just going to start. This is the second meeting that we've done so far for Ludington against data centers. And we want to do this continually and keep updating everyone. And so far there's been some people that have come aboard and put their hands to work, and some beautiful things have come of that, like the flyer, for example, and the calendar. And some other people are getting familiar with the laws that kind of govern these data centers, the tax laws and things like that. Yeah, that is on the agenda. We're going to go through this in a bullet point style. There's going to be some methods brought up on how to verbally box the people who appear to be tight-lipped on this subject to get some information out of people. But first, the introduction. When I first moved here about 3 years ago, I've noticed over time the variety in town and in Mason County in general, even Oceana, because I see this as a regional thing. No matter where they put this data center, it'll affect people even in like Warren down in southeast Michigan. It affects their bills too. So I see that there's a lot of things that we care about here, and there's a lot of differences. For some it's American ideals, and for others it's just their careers, my career and what I'm doing. And for a lot of us here it's religion, and my generation, I don't know if you're in my generation Z too, but we kind of just care about escaping reality. And that was the whole focus of this meeting, which was to bring in people of that character. I grew up on video games, and I realize that now they were pointing us to dangers in real life. And this one is quite large. It's either we do this, or we move around from city to city and township to township, living like vagabonds for the rest of our lives. And that's just not happening. And the bottom line is that we have a lot of differences, but we have a commonality here. And there's two people in the audience, as an example, who are really good friends, but they keep discretion about things they disagree about. And that used to be really, really common. That used to just be like what you did, and your parents taught you that, and then you followed suit. And I don't know if you want to get into detail, I won't mention your name, but if you want to talk about it and explain, to give an example, go ahead. I'll leave the floor open for that. All right, we'll continue then. So, in our group, we do everything that we can to spread the word about data center dangers, and because they threaten any potential to a good life. And I hope you can take something out of this where you can make an impact, because each and every one of us can make an impact, and that's a fact. We've been sold as communities across the nation that our voices kind of really don't matter, and you see that in the demeanor of some of our officials and the way that they look at you. And I've been trained to read faces. I know what they mean without saying words sometimes. So a lot of it's unconscious and subconscious, but the fact is that deep down in your heart, you matter, and your life matters, and your voice matters as well. I mean that. We don't want our water sources drying up. We don't want our water sources getting tainted. And if it's any encouragement to you, I believe that we're really far ahead. So far, the city council has only mentioned this subject one time, and in my personal opinion, I don't think that they would have if we didn't keep it up, what we're doing for a month. Their response was mockery, and so that kind of confirms what I insinuated from their faces. And a lot of us have done our research. On the Facebook, I've seen a lot of us post some things, and if I had more time away from work, I'd be relaying that to you. But one of the things I want to do in this meeting is anybody who's seen anything, you know, that applies here, something that we should all know about. We all got pens and paper. I think that we should speak up. I saw something in Utah that was happening with a politician. Does anybody know about that? A politician actually, in the Utah House or the Senate, he lost his re-election because he was going against the data center.
Oh, yeah, I did see.
Yeah, that was in the Ludington against data center group chat that we have. There was another thing that happened. Somebody I got in contact with. Now we have a network across the state, basically. I got in contact with somebody in Clinton Township, and they said that we can be an ordinance, you know, writing grassroots body, basically, a public ordinance. And we could do that. We could ban NDAs from being signed, and all we'd have to do would be a lot of work, but we'd have to push our boards, our township boards and city councils and villages to say you need to adopt what we have here. This is what the citizens are saying, and our law backs us up because the Constitution says so. And these NDAs are anti-transparency, and the public needs to be involved in every single decision. I'd even go as far to say closed meetings in 90% of cases. That's what I'm going to say right now. 90% of cases, I don't think that they should be closed. But if I do more research, that might get to 100%. Because no matter what somebody did, whether it's like a official getting disciplined or something, I don't think that needs to be in closed session. The town that elected that person, or the town that elected the people who appointed the people that are representing us, the people need to know what's going on. So there's a few things that we have as potential jobs. Designer has been filled. Whenever there's time to do anything, if you want to step up, that'd be great. I want to be respectful of your schedules, first and foremost. We have some writers and transcribers, people transcribing things. Our community calendar was beautifully put together by one of the couples attending last meeting. We need some newscasters. For now, I'll be the...
Just comment on the calendar, for those of you who don't see the Facebook page, maybe you all have. Is that the only place it's published?
It is.
Yeah. So,
What's
can you explain what that is?
What's the name of the Facebook page?
It's the name of our group, Ludington Against Data Centers.
Okay.
That's the Facebook.
It's on the little flyer back in the half sheet.
Okay. I thought I was following you guys.
It's the top,
Oh, on
it's the
here
top
it
line.
says LudingtonExperiment.com.
It's the top line. Facebook group.
Okay.
Now that that's squared away. Video makers, got video right there, back there. Video editors. We can make these things beautiful at some point, but for now, they're just gonna be a grassroots level look. Website builders. The Ludington experiment is not just a political campaign. That was my vision from the beginning. It was not just a political campaign website. What we're doing right now is gonna set an example to every other city in the nation. And other cities are doing this too. And so that's why the statewide network is really important. Because, you know, there's people that say the president is doing such a good job and he needs to do this, he needs to do that, why isn't he doing this yet? Well, the people are the greatest check in this country. The greatest of the checks and balances. The highest power. That's why we were given such a power. I read a lot of our history. Live streamer. Again, that's being done. Legislation reporter. There's two laws that we need to remember right now. One is House Bill 4905, I believe. And that's in the Michigan House. That gives data centers tax incentives to build without having to pay taxes, tax abatements. And the other one that we gotta remember is Public Act 233. And that gives the Public Service Commission, the Michigan Public Service Commission, the authority, 3 people have the authority to overstep communities that say no to solar or windmills or battery plants. Yeah, 3 people. And this committee was created in like the 30s. It was called the Michigan Utility Commission. And in 2024, the governor, the state, and the House, the Senate and the House were consenting to giving them that power, Public Act 233.
Will you say those numbers again?
Yeah. Public Act 233 is the act that allows the MPSC to overstep townships that say no to clean energy. And there's a lot of research that you can do that proves that it's not really clean. We'd really like to have clean energy, but there's really nothing out there that we know of. And if somebody discovers something, they probably just gonna get shot, you know, unless they got security. But that's not to be hopeless at all. So putting those two together, the data centers, they claim that they need clean energy things to operate, to have the power and to function. And so right now in Mason County, we have, and I've knocked on doors in several parts of the county. In Amber Township in the farmland south of us, they have lawyers and shell people that don't really identify themselves, knock on their doors and say, how much do you want to sell your land to us for? We want a solar farm here. We already have the windmills in Summit and Riverton. And those, if you do the research, even local research would tell you that they affect people very poorly. A battery plant that wants to get set up in Victory, I think. Fisher and Victory Corner Road. So the signs are here. The signs that they want to put one here are here. And in addition to that, we got a verbal, admittance from a township official. And it's that person's business how he wants to handle it from now on. I'm not going to get into that, but we've already gotten the admittance that they're aware of secret plans. And every single puzzle piece that we have here points us to the fact that we need to still be watching. And no matter what they say, to not listen to them, because...
They lie.
Sorry?
They lie.
They lie.
Bottom line.
I mean, it may sound far-fetched, but they really don't have our best interests in mind. Yeah.
Okay, I saw Mason County News put out an article, two articles last week.
Mm-hmm.
And the beginning of the article sounded wonderful. I can't remember what it was about, because down at the bottom, they inserted data center.
They inserted
Yay,
data center.
yay, data centers, yay, 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 so I commented and I said, excuse me, but have you talked to the people of Mason County to see how we feel? Oh, read the next article. Okay, I read the next article. Yay, yay, yay for data centers. So I commented again, I've got response.
Now, somebody was saying,
But I
why
just-
doesn't the Mason County Press come here?
So
I think they should, I do.
I do, but there was another article, oh gosh, probably a month before that, about how there's already a data center planned for, like, between Mason County and what county is Manistee in?
That's, Manistee County.
Manistee County?
Yeah.
So between the two, there's a massive data center plan for that. Is that going forward?
The last thing I heard from a accountable source, although I gotta get confirmation, is that it fell through.
Oh, good.
And that was in Stronach.
Okay.
Yeah, Stronach, my mistake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I never heard anything more, so I just wanted to find out.
Yeah, it's a blip on Aaron Brockovich's map. So it's something to be concerned about, absolutely.
Okay.
I had heard also that there was a battery plant they wanted to put in on First Street over by, the Stiles intersection. And this was months ago, so
A battery plant on First Street and Stiles.
well, not and Stiles, but that area. I don't know if that is over and they moved to the Litchie Corner location, because that's Amber Township over there. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's worth looking into. I just wrote it down. The question was that there was, well, the statement was that there's a potential battery plant coming to, the area of First Street and Stiles, which is south of 10.
What's the difference between a battery plant and a data center? I mean, I'm just starting to hear about battery plants, so.
It's like where they store the energy. Yeah, they store the electricity,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Just
in
curious.
the battery. And that's all I know about battery plants so far, other than the fact that when they leak, they destroy the land.
I know.
Yeah. So there's more I gotta look into on that subject in particular.
We might as well put it all down there between Hart and Shelby, they've already destroyed all that with all the solar crap.
On Polk,
Right on the highway, yeah,
I drove through that the other day, it was horrible.
yeah. Tyler Road's miles and this way, miles all the way to Shelby.
I couldn't believe it, I mean, it was endless.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't put them up in, like a small tower too, and take less area, you know what I mean?
What, put
There's
them in
the
a
solar
tower?
things, if they're gonna put them there, put 20 of them on a pole instead of spreading them out this way. They're still gonna collect the same amount of sun and use less land.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about efficiency from their end, and, since they don't put their money where their mouth is, I think that's another reason to point us into the bad intentions.
Right, and who's getting the
Brown.
energy from any of it? We are not.
We're not, I think they do it the easiest way, which, the way that's most effective for them, for their bottom line.
Well, I think if they're gonna give because they always say, like consumers out here, well, all that's going to Detroit. You know what I mean? Well, they got water down there. Put the plant down there. If that's the people that's gonna get the benefit from it.
I mean, we're powered just fine. Like, we have a hydroelectric plant already, isn't that clean?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
That's
It's water.
beautifully clean, yeah.
This has never occurred to me, why don't we confront our townships with that?
Right,
Yeah.
We already have clean, and then our substations throughout the state supply that clean energy to Detroit and other places
right.
in the
Other
Midwest.
states too, from what I understand.
Yeah, other states,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a good plan.
Yeah, Michigan's got a lot going wrong. We're collecting all of Canada's garbage too. That needs to stop. Tons and tons of it daily.
Yeah,
Coming
I
here.
hear about that. Yeah, bottom line, our environment's in trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Organizing meetings, that's something that I, as a young man, could use some advice on, because I did expect a large turnout today. I don't know how many people are there on the live stream, but, marketing, I learned a little bit about that in school. If somebody's got that skill, something to think about here. In my opinion, since I got canned from the newspaper, I was thinking about this earlier today, that the grassroots thing is way more impactful, way more meaningful, and I feel like I'm really doing the right thing here,
Right,
Talk to
rather
Garrett.
than still at the paper.
I believe so too.
What were you gonna say?
Talk to Garrett, so then tell him who you are, what you're doing. He will give you a lot of information on the marketing side and what we can do.
Okay.
He's excellent.
Do you think he has people that would, wanna take an interest in this?
He's got such a huge,
Yeah.
massive following here in Michigan. I'm sure there's somebody.
I seen him in Nuevo when he first started out, and it was a huge crowd.
That's when he started in Nuevo?
Yeah, that
Where
was
it
the
sold
first
out.
Freedom Festival during
He's
the
out of,
COVID crash.
the Grand Rapids.
What's the
And
name
he
of
was,
it?
Some metal on
Garrett
it.
Saldana.
Saldana.
yeah, that's SOLDANO,
SALDO, something like that.
and he was a gubernatorial candidate, right,
Yes, in the previous.
in the previous?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got his name circled here.
Yeah, he's excellent.
Township, okay, a show of hands, how many people are from Amber here? Victory? Okay. Hamlin, that's one. Pure Marquette. Okay. Grant, anybody from Grant? Logan? Eden?
Well, one of the Edens, there are two. Eden and Custer.
Ah, Custer,
Yeah.
okay. Cool. Custer. Now, I know I'm missing some. Sheridan? Anybody? Okay, the point of this is, we need some people that I can contact to get like the lowdown of what's going on in the township. Somebody who can look at the agendas, of your
Yeah.
township boards, and I can just be like, okay, what's up this month for Sheridan or Victory or whatever. And then from there, we can organize 50 or so, 20 or so people to go there and do the ordinance thing, you know, where they say, we wrote up an ordinance that bans NDAs, or we wrote up this ordinance, or we're here for this reason. Do it organized, tactfully, and respectfully as well. So the sooner we get organized in that realm, you know, I don't think that they'll know what to do.
So you're gonna present this ordinance that's been written to them, so it's gotta be backed by a number of people and their constituents, or it means nothing to them.
We need signatures.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it needs, the Declaration of Independence for them meant nothing without signatures. Nothing. A FOIA person. Do we know what FOIA is? Freedom of Information Act.
Okay.
It's the thing that links us to our, police reports and public records. I know a little bit about that. They always give you guidelines about how to get your records. And so if anybody finds anything in their township that they're like, yeah, I need that record, we need it for the group, I just ask that you go and do that, post it in the group chat, or DM me privately, direct message me privately, and then we can add it to one of our agenda things here. The best thing that we can do all for each other is keep making each other aware of what we got in our townships, even if we don't have appointed officers yet. Whoever wants to do it, you're welcome. Okay. So here's the thing that's gonna keep us safe. It's the manual, the guidebook. And I'm in the process of writing this up, but it's the safeguarding thing that's gonna keep us out of the pitfalls that maybe some of us have seen. I know that there's some of us in this room that have been in some pitfalls, you know, whether in the courts or the township level or the city council level or whatever, and unfair things have happened to them. There's just almost no justice that happens in this county, in this region. That's what I've noticed as a reporter and actor. So the manual, it'll keep us not surprised when things happen, if they happen. And if they do, we'll be able to counter it a lot easier. So, the first thing is how to handle deception and imposters and infiltrators. I'll just go into a story. I was doing some work with somebody, some community work with somebody recently, and our ideas do not align, but we agree on a couple things. And I think that's great, but the point of this story is that I wanted to give this person advice about what she's doing in her community, and I said, you need to be careful of infiltrators coming into your group. And I was just doing it out of my heart, you know, to be helpful. And the look that this person gave me led me to believe that I should be suspicious. So I kind of unlocked a method. Sometimes you can say things like that just to test people. It's kind of a shame that we have to do it, but people who are imposters, you know, would do a lot worse things. They would aim to divide us as a group, and that's a very real danger. Just because we're in rural Mason County, it would happen. This we know very well about moratoriums. We can use that subject to get an idea of what somebody really is after. So if someone is present at one of our meetings or in the community, you can ask them, why would you want to put a moratorium in place? And I overheard the person that I'm using as an example telling people that we need to put a moratorium in place, but she didn't say to stop the data centers or anything like that. The end goal was not clear when she said it, and so that made me think. And then I've heard this person talk at other meetings, and I was like, well, they didn't say the end goal there either. So a lot of it's just reading people and acting accordingly once you've got a good reading. And I think I've got a good reading here. You know, we've already done our research. Anything that anybody tells you about if they're good or they got this new idea where they're going to do a closed loop system or anything that'll like butter you up to be like, yeah, I'll agree with that about data centers, you know, in the positive. They've already proven that these things across the board are full of companies that lie and destroy communities, and probably much worse. You know, there's a lot of good stuff about surveillance that they talk about. So it's a good idea not to trust their word at all. To make a rebuttal, it just goes back to research.
Yes.
I've done my research, and if you do yours, your mind will change. And then what you don't tell them is, maybe you've already done your research and you're trying to get money out of this or something, I don't know. It's just knowing people's intention. And we're not always obligated to explain ourselves. Like that's what I've noticed, especially as a reporter. Not even just the government around here, but certain other people have tried to get me talking, and I'm sure it's happened to you too, you know, when you confront things, so that they can use something against you later. They want to get out of you the thoughts that you have or the talking points that you have that aren't set in place yet or perfectly sorted out in your head yet, so that they can write it down and then use it when the time is necessary. And that's a very bad thing. Trap avoidance, that's how I have the third bullet point labeled. often they will try and trap you into admitting your mistakes. And that's one of the things that we have to do as human beings, obviously, but if you do it with the wrong person, they're going to use it against you. There's a lot of people here that'll use your deep desire to be moral and forgiving against you. And the last thing I want any of us to experience is that burning sensation when you realize you've been betrayed by somebody you put confidence in, somebody you tried to reach out to. So it's not always a good idea to admit your mistakes. It's good to improve on your mistakes. We admit them to each other here. But if we're combating with our enemies, people who don't have our best interest in mind at all, that's how I define an enemy, then keep it to yourself. And always just do better next time. That's what I do. They want to attack our credibility. We're grassroots. They could. That's I imagine one of their intentions is to attack our credibility. I'll just say this too. I feel that this is important. Before I became a journalist, I was so timid. Like, when I was in an internship to be a journalist down in Oakland County, we had our final project, and my editor came up to me and said, okay, you two are going to go into the school, the high school, and you're going to walk around the robotics department and interview all the people. And he could tell I was very nervous. And he started consoling me and being like, look, you're at the end here, those kind of words of encouragement. But the point is that I've seen people come out of timidity and really become like a force that is something to fear, in a good way. Because when you stand your ground and you don't move, you say, I've done my research, sir, or ma'am, I don't think you understand what you're talking about. You're not playing their game, and then they deploy their traps to take you out in some manner. Okay. Now this one I do a lot of thinking about. Our emotions. They mostly need to be kept out of when we verbally combat them. They'll use that against us. And I've even noticed that my intuition tells me that sometimes they'll do it. They'll just start getting angry or raising their voice and start yelling and throwing a tantrum, frankly. I've seen officials do it around the state to try and get the other person to do the same. And then all of a sudden, anybody who's watching on Facebook or anybody who's sitting in the room is like, are you kidding me? What a bunch of kids or something. And then nobody takes it seriously. There was, in Saline, there was a guy from Ypsilanti who was running for office. He was there protesting the data center. He came up with this big sign, holding it up, and saying the lawyer there was crooked. And his words were, maybe he's crooked. And then the lawyer stood up out of his seat and started screaming, are you saying that I'm crooked, I'm corrupt, and I pocket money off this? And he's like, no, I'm just saying maybe, but it was this yelling match.
I saw that.
You did, huh? Yeah. I mean, it was funny and everything, but, it's not a comedy session. It's not a comedy session at all. But sometimes we have to laugh because it keeps us sane.
No, my first thought was, oh, we got 2 5-year-olds going on.
Yeah.
I mean,
2 5-year-olds. Having
we hissy fit.
a hissy fit, a smack fight where they're going like this, and we're not having that, not here. They want us to look stupid, so other people don't get inspired. The last thing they want is for this group to grow another 100. It's the last thing they want. they're happy with the fact that virtually nobody challenges them. And they portray the few that do like clowns. So just be prepared for that. And this manual is how we get prepared. And the main thing to remember is anything that they say to you, whether it's in private or among a small group or on the city council, so you get them to respond in public comment or something, it's all just a stage to them. Even if they're going off script, they're doing improv. This is what I've noticed, from being able to read faces and stuff. My father taught me when I was young to do that, and I've taken the discipline up and actually read some books on it from psychologists and FBI people and things like that. 4, sitting at meetings. There's a real art to that. Sometimes we would be able to all sit together, sometimes scattered around the room. That way, because they don't tell us what they're doing, ever. They're never transparent. And so for us to be fair where there's not fair being received, I don't think it'd be a smart move. They can figure that out as they go. They can do their own investigation on us if they want to, just like we're doing to them. So say one person is right here in the front, and another person is in the back, and they both get up at different times in the meeting. They don't know exactly if they're together or not. They can only use intuition and reading the room, kind of like we are. And it's easier to deny that. It's one thing that keeps us safe, because the fact is, I'm not the only one. There's other people that have their houses get watched around here. It's mind-boggling. There's some talk in the Ludington Pitchfork about it right now. People are coming out and sharing what they've experienced. One of my neighbors told me about it after we lost our dog. Somebody took our dog. So this kind of stuff is coming out right here locally. The point of sitting around the room the way that we might is also not just safety, but to classify ourselves. Like I said, some of us are intimidating, some of us are intimidated, some of us are bold, and some of us are quiet. And in my opinion, that's just fine, because I know where I came from, and wherever you're at in your life, however comfortable with yourself you feel, sorry to get real, but we got it, we're a group. It can be used. You have a place, no matter how scared you might feel, or no matter how bold you might be. You have a place, and it is recognized. Whether you've proven yourself or not yet, it's recognized. Okay, legal traps. This is obviously the most important. When we tell people we know about the secret plans, when we use those words, we need to be using terms like it's apparent that there are secret plans, it seems, it appears, I feel. Lawyers love that. They always coach their defendants and whatever to use those words. If we allege something directly, then we might be risking legal trouble. And number 6, questions to ask. There's a lot of questions that we can ask. We can ask something to the Great Lakes Castings. We have a lot of questions for that because we haven't even approached him directly. About his poster child thing for the CPACE program in the city, which really looks like it's connected to a data center. We can use the manual to extract some of their thoughts on this. And I would say attend every meeting you can the longer that you sit in them, I mean, I sat in them for like 2 years, straight. I was the government reporter. You'll be able to see what exactly, who's with who is just with this person, allied with this person for some kind of benefit, but not really united at all. You'll be able to see the dynamics way easier in the township or the city or wherever you decide to go. The county has some pretty weird dynamics, just say that I know the most about. Other situations that we have. The Michigan Public Service Commission, that commission that has the authority to overstep communities. They're coming to West Shore College. We're on to announcements now in the agenda. And they're gonna explain the expansion of the power grid in Michigan. They hold these public hearings often, but it seems very timely because the last time I was at City Council and I mentioned something about data centers and the price of living going up. The first time that they made a response to it was that we don't have the power here, we don't have the energy to support a data center. How much water do we have in our system? They were asking the department heads that day, like how much water do we have in our system? And they knew exactly how much they had. It was a well-oiled play. And then I heard about this meeting on August 12th. And then you combine that with all the solar farm they want to put in, the windmills that are already in, the battery plant that might be in 2 different places that they want to put in.
Marco,
Yeah.
has anybody in these meetings said where the water is gonna come from for these data centers?
You mean in our local meetings?
Where they're going to take the
No.
water?
They're not even admitting that they're gonna have a data center, they're denying everything.
That's a good point.
So
They're denying
not
everything.
gonna tell you where they're gonna get the water from.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume that consumers has something to play into, like why Ludington,
Yeah.
consumers. But I don't know that.
I
can
just
get
wonder
back
if
to
you.
anybody in one of those meetings would actually, of course, they're not gonna say anything.
They're denying everything.
Yeah. They haven't even mentioned data center. I mean, the only time that we've actually gotten a response was 2 times. One from that township official, who later denied it. And then 2, how this all originated was because I know people who were building a property down in PM Township. It was on Lenz Road. And they were approached after 2 years of building. And somebody from consumers or somebody associated with consumers came and said to them, you need to stop building, we're vacating you. And the reason is all the energy in the area, all the resources, all the space is needed for the data center. And whether it's gonna be in PM or not is up in the air because, the power grid is just like a network across the state. So they could put this data center in, all the way in like Eden or something where it's hidden and nobody goes.
There was a comment on one of the people running for office here in Michigan, saying that their plan is to put 85 data centers in the state. 85. It's not gonna be just one,
No, there's already several.
and there's already one being built in
I don't know how
Saline,
many total
because
there
they
are, but
lost.
Yeah, that was a betrayal. Yeah.
Oh, it was,
So is that a gubernatorial candidate?
yes.
There's a gubernatorial candidate that said he or she wants to put 85 data centers in Michigan. And there's already like 10 down south. It's kind of like a war map if you look at it. You look at the blips on the
It's so they can line their pockets, you know that.
Yeah, yeah, I do.
So is that what it's gonna do to the wildlife in that area? It's gonna affect the humans, make
It's
us
gonna
sick,
affect
what about the
everything.
wildlife?
Yeah. It's going to affect the bee population.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yep.
Here's something for the future. if it ever looks like in our endeavors, you know, going into townships and stuff and confronting this and being organized and spreading the word, if it ever looks like it's not going anywhere, just know that we have a last resort. We've got people across the state that can work for us, believe me. We've got people in networks that can pull strings, and then all of a sudden we are like golden. And for right now, I think it's really good that we're, you know, still growing from a little plant. And so our last resort is, you know, there's some people in here who have some serious networking people and connections. But I was on the phone with somebody from the Economic Development Responsibility Alliance of Michigan. That's a not-for-profit. And we talked for like 30 minutes. She said she could do a lot of things for us, and that her group can do a lot of things for us. And one of those things is get M Live to news coverage for us. You know, where we're not getting it locally.
Right.
You know, I'm sure the Pitchfork would cover it, I'd imagine. And, I'd hope that the radio station would too. But M Live would go across the state for this, and they already have.
Yeah.
You know, they go across the state to hear out residents and, you know, what they're experiencing, just like grassroots reporting,
Yeah.
which I really wanted to
I
happen.
followed them on Facebook.
M Live.
Yes.
Okay. And that is it. That's all I have. We made it an hour.
I have a question about Ludington, because
Yeah.
I'm like, I know you've been to their meetings and challenged them, and I don't really give you the time of day, but, well, Ludington is landlocked. There's no place in Ludington for them to put a data center, right?
In the city. Yeah, that's what they always say.
They could
Well, I
put
mean,
it in out.
the city of Ludington, yeah. You talking about the city, like I've got a Ludington address, but I don't have citizenship in Ludington.
Yeah, the post
So-
office is,
So talking to the Ludington government seems like a moot point to me, because where are they gonna put a I mean, they have influence, of course, to the townships, that's the only thing.
yeah, they do. Everything that they do affects us. This whole CPACE thing that they have, that's their link to the data center.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
That program funds it. You know, our city manager admitted it, that they do fund them.
Yeah.
And they need the clean energy in this city that that Mr. McMahon from Great Lakes Casting is gonna, you know, poster child. They need that so that they can power a data center. That's what all research says across the board. That clean energy powers these things, and CPACE is one of those things that gets the clean energy to power the data center. Because that's the only way that the data center can have tax incentives. If they have 90% of their energy and power coming from a quote unquote clean source,
Yeah,
then they get the incentives. It's the only way.
right.
So that's why they're building around here.
Wow.
So there's your link. And I don't think it's far-fetched either to say that somebody, you know, who's really looking to get a lot of money for selling their property in the city limits, could actually do it, and then they build one right in the city. I don't think that's far-fetched at all.
No.
So what like I said about them using everything that they can think of to throw us off or get us off a certain subject, that's one of them, in my opinion. That we don't have enough room in the city. You know, good people and what looks like bad people are saying the same thing, and I'm just not gonna trust that.
They always got the waterfront.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of vacant space down there, and they're trying to push out charter boats, so.
Oh,
That would be
I'm at
insane.
the city council meetings pretty frequently.
Okay.
And, even though that you're not in the city limits, to show a force in numbers
Oh, yeah, I know.
is,
Yeah.
you
It's
know,
important, yeah.
would be pertinent, I
Right.
believe.
pertinent.
I didn't mean it that way, I just meant, like, even if somebody owns
Have you
How
heard
many
of eminent
acres do they
domain?
need for
They're
this?
using that in
I've
other
heard-
states right now.
like hundreds of acres, it just depends on the data center, I know they're different sizes, right? But
Yeah,
in the city of Ludington, I don't know of any piece of land where you could knock down houses or something and build
They can do it on the outskirts of Ludington though.
with
Yeah.
the city
It's
limits.
past Meyer.
yeah,
There's a lot of open land out there.
they built Walmart on Swamp. They built this entire city on
Right.
Swamp. But
Right.
like, if anything can happen, then nothing's impossible.
Right.
Where's the Ludington line go? Like, PM Township starts at Nelson Road. That's not Ludington,
That's Ludington.
Jababi's not Nelson, no, it's PM Township, I live there.
I live there.
The city limits,
Well, it might jog around then.
the city limits, they
I'm in PM.
end,
Oh,
the east part of the city limits, they end halfway through Sixth Street. And then they go up to where, you know, everybody enters on 10. And then all around that is kind of PM Township. And then when you go up Lakeshore,
close enough.
when you go up that way, when you reach the cemetery, that's the city limits to the north.
Okay.
And it seems to me, with some of the city councilors, they don't stay in the city limits. There's some that go out into Hamlin, and they sit in their meetings, and they scatter themselves out. But the appearance that I get from this, they're looking to actually expand the city limits.
Oh.
Right.
I've also heard
I haven't
rumors
heard
about.
that.
That was in
So,
one of their.
There's a very good possibility that they're looking to Muskegon
I've heard,
and building a model with this new UDO that they've actually put in place, and they want to expand their reach. Who knows how far that could actually go? And then, am I actually correct? I don't know.
is it a
But
little
it
Chicago
seems-
idea?
It seems that way to me, you know.
The UDO is just another one of those things where they lawyer it up and
Yeah.
it's just full of lawyer words that nobody understands.
Yeah, and they have these meetings all the time. and
Sorry?
Or they hope we don't.
They go into
understand.
closed session, they go in with their lawyer. We're gonna buy property, but we're not gonna let you know what property we're buying.
Mhm.
They do that all the time down there in the city. So,
Yeah, the UDO, when I was trying to understand that when I was reporting on it, but here's how I understand it now. It's everything that they've ever wanted. They want to turn this town to Little Chicago. I guess it's gonna be
Yeah.
bigger
Oh, I
Chicago,
know.
now that we're hearing these
Yes, they
rumors,
do.
I hope not, but, yeah, they've been trying to do this since 2011. So they basically usurped the prior development ordinance and then created this unified development ordinance. Why would it be called unified?
yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah.
I do wonder. Where'd you hear those? I'll ask you later.
Oh, I want to know.
Sometime you don't want to,
Inquiring minds want to know.
if you're comfortable with it, where did you hear those rumors?
Say that again?
Those rumors, where'd you hear them from?
Oh, it's just a feeling that I've actually got. It's
Based on what you see, right?
based on what I see and what I hear from, Victory Township. Or Hamlin, I'm sorry, Hamlin. It's like, Sheila, she's the GOP chair, and she sits on Hamlin Township Board.
Yeah.
And I chat with her quite frequently, and she's like, Kathy Winchesky's out here again, trying to peddle her stuff from inside the city limits, and, you know, it's like, really? It's like, yeah, okay.
Does, the Hamlin representation have anything to say?
On that issue, no.
You never heard anything?
I've never heard anything to that point. I know Kathy does show up, but it's more of a report of what's going on in Ludington, and then
don't wanna do away with that rumor entirely. So I'm gonna play the middle for now. I don't think it's out of her character to be doing what you're suggesting, because there's a lot of deception here. So I'll leave both doors open, that it's just a report, or it's a report disguised as something else.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
So recently, Branch Township just rezoned, portion of land across from the Branch Grocery. And they said it's for, a particular purpose. It had nothing to do with data center. And I can't remember what that purpose was. Do they do that sometimes? Do they lie just so people don't get up in arms? Because, well, now the Branch Grocery is for sale. And I thought, is there something going on that we don't know about?
But would they rezone it
To industrial. I mean, can they do that? Can they say it's for this purpose and then, oh, we've got this industrial land here?
Oh, they do it all the time.
Yes.
Oh,
Of course they
They
do.
really do.
They do.
wow.
And that's why Trump's come out on the stump just lately. Well, not actually lately, he's been alluding to it for quite some time, but he's actually come right out and said, government has actually been infiltrated with communism. And communists will lie to you,
Well, you can,
so,
look at Dearborn.
well, there might be a reason why there's not that, Red Scare kind of talk anymore from our government. That's something worth to consider. That defend our country talk that used to be so prevalent. Okay, I didn't know that happened in Branch.
Yeah, just recently, within
Yeah,
the last few months.
I saw it in a report on Facebook.
Do you know
Oh,
how
okay.
many, do you know how many acres were rezoned?
I'm kind of naive and gullible, so once we read the minutes and it said, oh, it's for this other purpose, I just thought, oh, okay, good, it's not a data center. And so I didn't really delve.
Yeah.
They don't
So
want us
that might
organized.
have been in their future land use plan to increase industrial, but yeah, those are the things you need to watch for, especially
Right.
developers. Developers will often work with municipalities or utilities to rezone, get the entitlement changed. Government and residents think it's safe because a utility's doing it or a municipality's doing it, but in fact, they're positioning it to sell to developers, so you have to watch those traffic.
Is the Branch Grocery still open?
It is, they're operating.
I'd be talking to the owner to see what he knows.
I would too.
I mean,
Oh,
Especially.
it
like,
does seem
Just casual.
coincidental, the timing.
Or hers, whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
I never considered that point. The developers will work with utilities to help the people feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've never
They do it
considered
all
that
the
before.
time.
And utilities have pre-existing relationships with the government regulatory
Oh, yeah.
agencies.
Yep.
For sure.
So,
Regulatory agencies?
yeah. Like any energy,
DTE is huge in that.
yeah, DTE consumers, they have zones and they're constantly networking with the government. So it's like as far as people in the room who can do things and make moves, it's, yeah.
Anything else that we're seeing that's strange?
Well, I don't know your name, but she was saying, in Georgia, what's your
Claudia.
name, Claudia?
Yeah.
Claudia was saying, about eminent domain in Georgia. They're, running a 30-mile, I think it's 30-mile power line. I'm not good at, I need to get better at giving information, but anyway, there were 30 homes in that area that they needed for their new power line. And so they said either you sell or, we're taking it back, eminent domain,
Yeah,
is
that
what it's
happens
called?
all the time,
Yeah,
especially with those types of projects.
They
yeah,
ended up just
and
taking
that
it
was
back.
horrifying to me, like
The
they
state
could just say
taking
it's
it
ours.
back.
Yeah, they did that all over.
well, it's like the Tennessee Valley Authority, back in 1933. when, they went to do with the dam down there, there was legislation that was actually passed that said that they gave the actual authority to the Tennessee Valley Authority, gave the authority to the utility companies. And the way that it's actually written, they can come through your utilities and with this invasive species stuff and, come in and say, you've got some invasive species, your property is contaminated.
Oh, yeah.
Through the utility company, they can actually come in and snag your whole property under eminent domain.
Wow.
And they did that through the Tennessee Valley Authority Act.
Yeah.
And this new UDO that they actually passed in town kind of glows that way, because you can only have a sign this high, you can only have, and you're not falling in. Or if you don't fall into code, and if you don't fix it within a year, or if you don't have the money to fix it,
Right.
they can come in and snag your property.
You know a lot
Be out
about
on the
UDO.
street. Huh?
You know a lot about that ordinance, don't you?
I've been researching it pretty heavily. Well, I have last 10 years. I've diversified in so many aspects, it's hard to keep track of, actually. But I've got a lot of it written down. I don't have it with me, but.
Well, that's all right. Just,
Can they
It's good to
still
know.
take your property if it's in a trust?
Was that?
If you put your property in a trust, can they still take your property?
Yeah, yeah. They can do that through the corrupted justice system.
So you have everyone's email that was at the last meeting, right? I think, like for next steps, I'd be willing to just email everyone and ask for volunteers. We need volunteers from every township and village, I mean, ideally, to be watchdogs for that. And just start assigning people to the meetings.
I think that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Could I write your name down?
Yeah, I'm Jane.
Jane.
I did the calendar.
Oh, you're Jane.
Yeah,
Oh, that's why you're mentioning Eden.
Jane.
yes. My husband didn't make it tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Michael, how about you make a list of areas that we can research, and maybe each one of us can take a part and research deeper into that aspect? I don't know how to word
Yeah,
that.
I
No,
like
I think that's perfect.
Huh?
I think that's
Group
perfect.
share. And come back and.
Well,
we
yeah,
share
that's what I
with
mean, but
everybody.
have people that are willing to research, okay, this.
Yeah, so we're educated, so
Yeah,
when they
and
come
then-
back with, well, it's closed loop, we know.
Yeah.
Closed loop doesn't mean
Right.
you're not gonna pollute our water and,
Also, they can tell you.
You could become a conspiracy
And then when it
theorist.
actually comes to building the facility.
I'm already accused of being there, so why
That
not?
didn't work
Welcome to
out.
the club.
And
I
you
know.
Say it again, closed loop is supposed to be a better way, a more environmental way to cool the system. But my thought on that is, they can tell you it's closed loop to kind of pacify people, and then when it comes to actually building the facility, it becomes, oh, that didn't work out, we couldn't do it that way because X, Y, Z. And so we're doing it the easier way, or the most cost-effective way for us.
Were they actually going and changing ordinance?
Who's they?
The city council, they'll do that,
Yeah, they can.
or they'll pass a resolution.
Yep.
And if you don't research those numbers that they give you, their MCLs and all this stuff, you don't know what they're talking about. And that's why they have a former judge that sits on the city council, and you got a law professor that's at large that sits on that council. So it's kind of like,
Ways that can
yeah.
go around.
Yeah, there's a
It's
lot.
time-consuming job.
There's a
God,
lot.
yes.
It really
Yeah, we
is.
need to arm ourselves with knowledge.
And if you're not
Yes,
retired
we do.
like myself,
We sure do.
it makes it difficult.
Yes, for sure.
The laws that apply, the facility systems that apply, the organizations that apply here, that'll all be on the list. And, I think we all have each other's Facebooks, so let's start throwing ideas out there. We can all compile to this list.
Yeah, you've done a great job, by the way. I mean, for the amount of time you've had, I like how you're starting to build a structure. I wish more people were here.
Me too.
I was so surprised.
I'm getting good advice.
Oh, good, good.
From some guys in the group that are
Nice,
teaching structure to me.
wonderful.
I think that is great. Email everyone, volunteers, and then once we have that list, well, the list is gonna be ever growing, that's my guess. But once we have it, it gets easier, cause it's like,
Knowledge
I
is
want-
power.
KIP. We learned about that in school, yeah, when I was a kid. That's what we call it, KIP.
You need to put a lot of flyers out somehow. On all the telephone poles, cause people are reading those,
Oh, there you go.
you know.
People need to be informed, yeah.
Yeah, cause I reposted this meeting, the last one, everywhere I could, and I posted it again tonight, just before I left the house, it's
Wow.
tonight, but that's all I could do, you
I
know.
shared it on Facebook. Nobody that follows me is here. Except me. We already said.
Yeah, that's a good job, that just takes a bicycle and a stapler.
That's right.
And some flyers.
I've seen poles with, I swear to God, 1,000,000 staples in them.
A great corner for that is 10 in Pure Marquette.
Yeah, in Meyer Corner.
And if you're
Walmart
Yeah.
Corner,
Alright,
Yeah.
cause of
Or
Derek.
right by,
anywhere there's a long
where you turn
stoplight.
into, off 10, where you turn into Family Fair, that's another one.
Mhm.
There's always something on that pole.
Alright, I like it, very much. I'm open to hearing anything.
On the flyers, maybe all the information that we know about what they're trying to do, so people can say, holy crap, they're doing this.
More flyers, flyers with things in the list, flyers explaining the details of what we've researched about
Right.
certain subjects in the list,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That's good to me.
like the battery plant and the data center itself, they're trying to push it in there, you know?
Yeah. You can
Cause
only,
a lot of people don't know. A
no,
lot of people don't even know what's going on, they have no clue.
They don't understand what it's about.
Yeah, they don't understand
No.
the ramifications of what that,
Exactly.
what will happen next.
ghost town, that's what's
Right.
gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they're trying to push everybody to a 15-minute city, so if they put all the data centers out in the country where we're at, we're gonna have to be driven into a town because we can't stand to be around it.
Right.
Not only that, but a lot of us have wells. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Our
even
wells are
water
gonna dry up.
treatment,
And we're
even the
gonna have
water
no water.
treatment places are not, they're not capable of filtering out the PFAS, the forever chemicals. They're not.
And they just had a meeting last night at city council. If you're actually outside of the city limits and you work within the city, the new thing that there's possibly, one of their options for their general fund, because they're running short on cash, that person that lives outside of the city limits, that works in the city limits, now, you've got a property tax that actually doubles, or an excise tax for what they're trying. Scheming
City
about
tax.
passing, say if it was 1%, now it becomes 2% because you live outside the city, so they tax you.
Detroit's
again.
done that for decades.
We used to have a tax like that in Ohio where we lived. It was a
Wow.
other town, my husband worked at, and we were taxed for that city school district.
Jeez.
I wasn't at the meeting, I watched it online, but I had other things going on. They're hurting for cash. In their general fund, they're getting outside, advice.
Maybe they should stop spending it on stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Like the end of the avenue down here, that didn't need to be changed, there was nothing wrong with that.
Now they're tied up in the harbor. They wanna merge that, but they're having problems because of the fact that the condominiums are right there.
Yeah.
What do you mean
So
the traffic stuff?
there's a variance that they're trying to work out, they're trying to make it all one, they want that whole waterfront. They want a waterfront town, they want Muskegon, they want Chicago right here in Ludington, is what they're trying to do.
Right.
They want the
Well,
cruise
that's
ships to
been
come
planned.
in.
And
For
you
years.
think the
They want
taxes
first
for that?
one Next month.
I'm deaf in one ear.
I said they want the cruise ships to come in and
Oh,
we got
yeah.
our first one
Yeah, they
coming
already
next
got it
month.
scheduled.
We already had one.
We have one coming in.
We had our first one already.
Wow.
No, August, they said August, 7th or 9th.
They're saying it's the first one?
Yeah.
That's weird, because I have the
It's
newspaper,
owned by the American Princess,
Yeah, they
American
American
Cruise
Cruise Line,
Line.
it sounded like it was the first time.
yeah, August is the first one.
well, I don't think I'm mistaken, because I remember the LDN put a report out that we've already had our first one.
They did a trial run?
They just the news just posted on Facebook again yesterday, our first cruise ship is coming August, I think it's the 7th or the 9th, and then the next one's gonna be the 17th.
Ah,
The same boat, the same cruise ship's coming in.
they're making
It's coming in
moves.
twice in August.
Yeah, and which governor was it?
Crazy.
Which politician in Michigan was talking about making, a fast train, to Ludington from?
To Ludington.
Yes,
One for it runs, though it's the state.
right, I forget what their projected, but I guess,
There was?
Well, they want a connecting, walkway or bike trail
Yeah, the
from the
bike
state
trail,
park
the bike
all the way
trail's
to
a big-
Oceana County, all
Yeah.
the way to Lake County.
I know, I've heard that.
Well, EM's involved in that heavily.
Yeah, in the right place too, Christie's in.
Yeah.
Yeah, all this, it falls under cost of living going up and the locals not being represented.
Exactly.
The data center falls under that.
They're making decisions without asking the
The
residents.
people, yeah.
When they ask us, it's just a lie, they don't really,
Yeah,
People
It's
already
just a
can't
show.
afford
they
to live
don't
here.
care.
sorry?
People already can't afford to live here.
It's getting to
Rent
that
is
point.
crazy, I heard.
Yeah,
It's already there.
I know.
I mean, people, there's a whole Traverse City subreddit where people talked about this. Not Ludington, but they talked about their own situation, and I don't want us to get there. In fact, I'd like to see Traverse City welcome its people back, but I'd like us to do that here too. I worked with guys in the paper that had to drive all the way from like Cadillac outskirts, just so they could run the presses. That's terrible. Why make people miserable? There's clearly not good intentions. Clearly.
right.
Well, if we're ready to close out, we can do that, unless somebody else has something to say.
When's the next meeting?
Next meeting, it'll be next month sometime.
You'll post it.
I'll post it. And we'll have it posted on telephone poles. Yeah.
So the
I'm old school, I like
website, that other website, you said you are looking for a website designer. Is this, other than the Facebook, is this other website that's mentioned, is that, operating, website for?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay,
The Ludington experiment.
okay,
That needs to be developed more, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it does need to be developed more.
Yeah.
I like the look of it right now. It looks old school, like I said. And, it needs to have a lot more stuff. I mean, there's a lot about data centers in it. There's a lot about price outs in it. There's campaign stuff too. But it needs to catch up to where we're at currently.
Is somebody in this group, the person who created the website? You did.
Yeah, it took me a long time.
That's why he's saying he needs help.
Yeah, that's why, yeah.
I couldn't resist Marco.
It's all right, Claudia, sorry. Yeah. guess the final thing that I'll say is if Branch really does get rid of their place, then it's gonna take a hit because we don't really have that great pizza around.
It's so good.
It's, I'm gonna go there and ask for the owner and get some pizza for my family and then interview them.
There you
There you
go.
go.
I don't wanna forget that taste.